player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on this Wild Card Wednesday powered by Box Eye Care. We've got the portal, and man, has it been a crazy few days for Alabama. The good, the bad, the ugly of it. Bama's had a lot of good, even though it looked like we were going to have a lot of ugly. Got a couple players to leave the portal. We've got our first commitment from the portal. We'll also take a look at Bama Hoops versus North Dakota tonight. Can Bama keep it rolling as they're on the road? Grant Nelson is kind of going home. But we also have the Christian moment, Harvest Church Christian moment of the week, and we'll talk more about the state of college football. And is there a way to right the ship and get things fixed with NIL and the transfer portal?
Good morning and welcome in once again to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. I want to remind you to get in on the conversation. It's the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions Hotline, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions Hotline, an education, equipping, and empowering company. We speak, we coach, we train. We will continue the show, invite you to get in on it. So once again, 205-342-9904, or post your thoughts, your comments, and your reactions in the live stream chat based on where you follow. Encourage you to follow the Martin Houston Show on Facebook. Like, follow, and share, and subscribe based on whichever network you connect with us on. And make sure you tell family and friends about this great show. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice, be glad in it, take some time to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Kicking it to you, X.
Man, it's been a crazy couple of days on the Alabama campus with the transfer portal. Starting it off, we didn't talk about this yesterday. Tight end Danny Lewis Jr. is back. I think that's a huge get for Bama. It was a feeling with the loss of Dupree and Oots. He'd be a big name and a big part of this offense in the 2025 season when you're looking at the tight end room, because it is, outside of Cuevas and Lewis, a really, really young room. Both of those guys will be going into their junior season next year. Then you have Ty Lockwood, a redshirt sophomore, Jay Lindsey, redshirt freshman, and then the two true freshmen, and Caleb Edwards, and Marshall Pritchett. So big get because of the experience. He's a guy that has played in games over the last 2 years in a backup role. So big news getting him back. And then, of course, Jalen Mbakwe decides not to transfer. He sits down, has a meeting with Coach DeBoer, Courtney Morgan, and I'm pretty sure number 2, Ryan Williams, was a part of that conversation, is because of the friendship and the relationship that they've built. And let's not forget, Mbakwe is a big reason why Ryan decided to recommit to Alabama after Coach Saban retired. So they were able to get him to not enter the portal and remain with Alabama. And I think this is going to be a very interesting experiment for Alabama because I do believe, based off of the things that I've heard, Mbakwe will be seeing some snaps on the offense. Now, will he be Travis Hunter 2.0? I'm not sure, but I think you will have packages for him on the offensive side of the ball because of his ability that we saw at the high school level. And Bama lands their first commit from the portal. Kelby Collins, a Gardendale native, is here, and he's from Florida. He'll have 3 years of eligibility after an injury caused a red shirt this year. But which one of these guys, if of course Mbakwe is the big name that we've talked about, but is he the biggest maybe 2025 impact for of these three guys? Is he the biggest is he the biggest impact for the 2025 season?
Well, first of all, I think you have to kind of. We said we were going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and Alabama has really experienced that to some degree. Um, all of them. Before we look at specific players, because you look at if you want to start with the ugliest is that this was tampering.
100%.
When you really look at this was tampering, no other way to sugarcoat that, because Mbakwe was not in the portal. But we know that he, and it's not speculation, sources that know that Ole Miss and one of Bama's former coaches did the same thing he did with the last defensive back he got from Alabama. He was pictured and caught meeting with Amos before Amos went in the portal. Okay? So I don't know I don't know if this was a sit down or a phone call or whatever, but they definitely tampered. So that's the ugly of this. Fans, analysts, radio hosts, etc. We need to be careful when we dog these kids about loyalty. I'm putting myself in that same boat because here was a kid who wasn't looking to go in the portal. He wasn't looking to go in the portal. He wasn't looking to transfer. And I think his actions show that he wasn't. I've heard people dog him and say, "Well, he played Alabama like a fiddle. He got more money." Now, he may have gotten more money, but I don't think it was, okay, I'm going to pretend like I'm leaving and go. I believe it was grown men, full-grown organizations coming after a young man. And I shared the Antonio Langham story the other day, yesterday, how he didn't plan to go to the pros. And then he realized it after he was enticed that it was a mistake. Well, this young man was enticed with $1 million plus. Whether it was for the next 2 years, next 3 years, or next 4 years, that's more money than most of us will make in the next 20 years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Some of you listening to me right now will make $50,000 a year for the next 20 years, and you'll be extremely happy. And this young man was offered that at once. It changes his life, his family, his destiny, his children, if he does right by it. And then the University of Alabama said, no, you're one of those we want to keep. Now, let that sink in. Think of some of the people who have left who they didn't go after. Maybe there's a reason they didn't go after some of the other ones. Some on behalf of the young men, some on behalf of the character of the young man, some because of the character, both positive and negative. Okay.
All right.
Some making moves for their family that he can't argue with. some making moves for their own selfish reasons, and he don't want them. But he wanted this one.
Yeah.
And he went after him, X. And so that's the good of the portal, that these young men have a conversation. And this is actually what used to happen, X. It just wasn't public. Okay. And what I mean by that, players used to actually want to leave, think about leaving, have somewhere they wanted to go, but they had to go talk to the coach. And once they talked to the coach, they would change their mind. Well, now they have money that entices that decision, and they don't have to have a conversation with the coach beforehand.
Yeah. And you know, when I'm looking at this situation, I think the biggest thing about it is it's Bama fans. I, y'all can't keep getting on these social media platforms and
You
just
should.
absolutely ripping these kids, these young men. These are 18 to 22-year olds. And anybody out there that says they wouldn't be enticed, they wouldn't be pulled, as you said, by a 7-figure offer at that age, you're alive. I don't
At
believe
that age,
it. At that age.
hey, let somebody come offer me a chance to leave this station. They ain't got to get to 6 figures. I love you guys. I love Bama football. But if I had an opportunity, I would have to think seriously about upping and changing my salary, up and changing my life acts.
Right. So that, and if we're gonna be honest, if you look at the background now, it's not every. But if you look at the background at a lot of young men that are playing college football, their families never even thought about this type of money. And I this is a call out of the absolute vile, disgusting things I saw across several social media platforms. We have to do better as fans. You ain't gotta like it. You ain't gotta love it. You ain't gotta support the young man. But to be getting on there saying, I hope he tears his ACL in his first practice. I hope this happens. I hope that happens. That grow up. As a fan base, grow up. There's no reason 35, 40, 50-year-old men should be getting on the internet absolutely saying disgusting things about a 19-year-old. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't care how much you love Alabama football. If that was your 19-year-old son, you would tell him, you'd be probably in his ear telling him, yeah, you might want to take that. You might want to do that. Because it's
Yeah,
now
and
it
here's the
could be a
other part.
situation that plays out exactly like this one played out. Huh?
Yeah, and they've dogged him, and he didn't leave.
And he didn't leave.
And he didn't leave, right?
We got
So,
to do better. We got to do better.
and not just that, X, because in some ways I'm semi-messy or sneaky when I be posting stuff. Because right behind Mbakwe deciding to come back, I posted that we were getting a kid from Florida. The same dudes, the same people that were dogging Mbakwe for leaving and going to Ole Miss are the same people for praising Collins for coming to Alabama. We're going to address that on the other side. We got a call we got to get to. But here's the reason that exists, Xavier. They think college football is about them.
Yeah.
And we'll address that on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you and happy hump day. Getting off to a nice and quiet start along the Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. Looking good even inside the construction zones. That's not bothering you. Just be careful as you travel around them and pay attention to the detours posted. We've got McWright's Ferry Road extension between Rice Mine Road and New Watermelon Road. Road work is there. Also, 2059 eastbound is nice between Joe Malisham and 69. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Tom.
This report is sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Nearly everyone has two kidneys, each about the size of an adult fist. They are located on either side of the spine, just below the ribs. Kidneys are very important to overall health. They help remove waste and extra fluid from the body. They filter the blood. Kidneys also make the vitamins that control growth. They also perform an important function by controlling blood pressure and minerals like calcium and potassium to keep the entire body healthy.
Do you have a renovation vision for your home? Let Shoot Masonry and Specialties transform those tired spaces in your home into vibrant havens. Whether it's a culinary dream kitchen, spa-like bathroom, or the warm glow of a brick fireplace crackling on a chilly night, let Shoot Masonry and Specialties create your vision into stunning reality with complete renovations. Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
The 2024 countdown is on, and BMW of Tuscaloosa is ending the year with a bang. This December, it's the month of BMW, featuring the best selection of vehicles and unbeatable year-end savings. Up to $10,000 off on select models. You won't want to miss out on these once-in-a-lifetime deals. The presents under the tree are nice, but the BMW in your driveway, that's the real holiday magic. But hurry, these sizzling savings won't last long. Get to BMW of Tuscaloosa before time runs out on these hot year-end offers. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another very mild day today, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 73. Showers ending this evening, colder after midnight, the low 41. And tomorrow, a good supply of sunshine with a high at 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 50 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
All right, welcome back in. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. It's a wild card Wednesday hump day edition of the program. We're glad you're with us. Love to hear your comments, your thoughts, etc., or give us a call on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions hotline, 205-342-9904. X, before we get to Pat, we were talking about why this is what proves that these fans who say they love college football, they love Alabama football or they love their favorite team. But they don't. Now, not everybody, because I'm frustrated with the state of college football. Let me say this clearly. I'm frustrated with the state of college football, but I'm frustrated with the leadership of college football, not the players in college football. These kids are simply taking advantage of what's out there. And you also have to understand, when I came out of college, I did not get an agent. I represented myself. But I did such a good job representing myself, Xavier, and I moved from 25, ranked 25 as a fullback, all the way up to anywhere from number 5 to 8 on draft day, is what some of the reports were saying. But I did such a good job that agents started recruiting me, not just for me to make it to the league and represent me. They would go, you probably don't need my representation, but would you come to work for me if you don't make it? Because I need guys like you out here representing me to help me get these players to sign with me. Now, this is before it was legal for agents to be on campus. So that he wanted me to be on campus connecting with Alabama players and visiting. I should say, it was more than one. But now you have agents that can not entice these kids for 3 months like they used to be able to do from January to April. They can entice them an entire school year, an entire school career. These agents are simply bombarding these kids with offers. I have heard of kids who have told agents, no, X, multiple times, only to have them come back and keep bumping up the offer. Now, here's the question, X. Who's paying that agent? Let this sink in for a second. If the players aren't paying the agent, who's paying them to keep coming back with these offers? The collectives, the schools. So there's so much ugliness going on that people don't understand. And like I said, I put myself in some of that boat too, because I do love Alabama, but I don't love Alabama to the point that I'm going to dog a young man who pursues. Now, I'm going to talk about him and have fun with him, but I'm not going to start making the personal attacks and all of those things. I wish there's some stuff that I know I wish I could share, X, that people would absolutely feel horrible about a couple of what they've said about kids who went into this portal this year. They would absolutely have egg on their face. But it shows that their career is more about Alabama than people. And I hate to say it that way, but that's reality. When you start dogging these kids, but then you praise them when they come, that's hypocrisy at the highest level, X.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, for some kids, it might be a turnoff. For some, I'm not saying for all, but for some, it could be an absolute turnoff to if they even want to look and consider Alabama. And that's the thing. Like these you at you at 30, you at 40, me at 30, you like you said, you're 54, I'm 33. If we had an opportunity to go somewhere else that provided a better life for me, my wife, and 2 kids, you and mom, and how y'all could leave things for me and my siblings and our kids, I would do it in a heartbeat. You would do it in a heartbeat. That's simple.
Here's I'm gonna read. This is a long one. CJ Watson says one of the hardest parts of it is as a fan, and the key word there is fan, which is short for fanatic, is being excited for guys and wanting to watch them develop and flourish in the program you love. You love. And players don't value flourishing and developing like they once did. That's debatable. they may just value something else more. Okay, it may not be that they don't flourish developing. It may just that they have more criteria. You're making a judgment, CJ, that the guys like me would have left. I mean, stayed at Alabama despite getting a $500,000 offer. We don't know that. We don't know that those dudes that played like I played, that was committed. Now I was committed and I was recruited to play for Alabama. I wasn't recruited to go to the NFL. Okay, so Nick Saban created part of this problem because he recruited the guys he recruited because he sold himself as a step to the NFL. I wasn't recruited that way. I was recruited to come play for Alabama and to get a degree and to play for SEC championships and hopefully restore Alabama to national championship. That was the line that I got. I didn't get a line that we would get you to the NFL. Okay, so these kids weren't recruited to play for this program as much as they were recruited that this was a pathway to the NFL. It says it's all about money and not about the program. Why does every kid go to college, X?
To get an education and make it to the next level.
To get a job, to pay their bills. That's why you go to college. You're not going to college because you want to spend 4 years at a campus. You're going to a college because you hope to get a degree that helps you take care of your family. If someone comes to you as an engineer, if Elon Musk came to you and you were an electric vehicle guru and he came to you and offered you $1 million, would you stay at Alabama and finish getting developed? Or would you go take that job? That's what we have to understand. Players are quick to drop a program and move on for more money every year. I'm not arguing that they are right or wrong for that, but as a fan, it's maddening. Agree with that, CJ. It's
100%.
a lot of joy people had as supporters of a team. It's not really the players' fault. It's on the NCAA. Bam, great point. They let a good thing arguably ruin the sport, and maybe intentionally. Players should be able to make money off NIL, but we don't have NIL anymore. We never really had NIL. We never really had NIL. But here's the question. Here's the point I try to tell people. X, when did I become an Alabama fan?
When you came to Alabama.
So, did I really become an Alabama fan when I came to Alabama? Or did I choose to come play at Alabama? And when I graduated,
And because of that,
when I graduated, I became an Alabama fan. But I grew up an Auburn guy. I almost went to NC State. And whichever one of those I went to would have gotten my commitment. And I didn't have something else. I almost left Alabama and went to Jacksonville State for love. I almost left Alabama and went to Jacksonville State because I was in love with my current wife of 35 years, guys, and there was no money involved. So just imagine what would have happened if someone had offered me money to go. That's what we have to get to. Pat, you're in. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, Mr. Collins, and Coach Saban coveted Mr. Collins big time. I did too. I thought for sure. I talked about Collins, 6'5", 275 pounds, has 3 years of eligibility left. Could be that defensive end that makes us great again on defense. I don't know. If he can be, if he's healthy, that he's been banged up. What do you know about that, X?
Kelvin Collins was definitely one of those guys a couple years ago that Saban really wanted. And the crazy part is he wasn't necessarily a great fit for our defense. He was going to have to gain a crazy amount of weight from high school to college to play that 3-4 end position. He was about 265 coming out of high school, and he's going to have to be probably 290, 295. And that's not something he wanted to do. He said he wanted to play on the edge and things like, and Florida's 4-3 allowed that. Now you look at this defense that we have now with Kane Womack and the bandit position. He is a prototype bandit. 6'4", he's about 280 pounds now. And this is a better fit for him than it was when he was coming out of high school. And I think the potential rotation next year of him and LT, and it is going to be a dangerous combination because I don't think you lose anything between the two of them because their skill sets are so similar and the way they play is so similar. So I think that is a great get for Bama, and it might be the most impactful 2025 get.
Exactly. But and Martin, what they're not saying, or and you found it that crimson colored jersey that playing for Alabama for 3 years, going to the NFL, or playing for Alabama for 4 years, it opens up so many more jobs inside the state of Alabama because hey, there's only 30 some teams in the NFL. Each team has a 53-man roster. Only 3% of any high school athlete plays anything at the NCAA level. It's so minute, even players that get to go to college to play anything. But then to go to the NFL, that's so minute what it means to wear that crimson jersey in a state of Alabama, showing that you've been to, on that team for 4 years, going to practices, doing what you're supposed to do. When you can put that on a resume, it shows that you are a dependable person and would be a great hire. And opens up so many more doors that the rest of us don't have in the state of Alabama. They don't understand what that jersey means, Martin Houston.
But is that their fault, or is that what are they being sold, Pat? That's what I was trying to point out. I wasn't disagreeing with C.J. Watson and what he was saying. What I'm saying is Saban changed that. Saban used the University of Alabama. He didn't recruit them just for the crimson jersey. What did he recruit him? Everybody, CJ saying the value shifted. I don't think these guys' value has shifted. I'm going to tell y'all, stop saying it's the kids. The value is I didn't have this option. Okay? Don't assume, and like I said, I'm on the boat with you guys. I'm having to reassess myself. Pat, didn't have this as an option. Okay? I teach young people about the value of Jesus Christ in their life, and they come to church every Wednesday. But as they get older, they're presented with more choices. Okay? So a sixth grader, an eighth grader, or a ninth grader, they're at church every Wednesday because they can't drive, Pat. Their parents have to take them everywhere. But all of a sudden, they get a license to drive themselves, and then their friends come and say, hey, come hang out with us. And it's a Wednesday night. Now they have a choice. It's not that they necessarily their value regarding Jesus has changed. It may be that something was introduced that they put more value on, okay? And maybe there's a lot of guys that we keep praising that were saying they were so loyal to the University of Alabama when maybe they weren't as loyal. They just didn't have a choice. Okay?
There's a lot of greats that have worn. There are a lot of greats that have worn the crimson and white, and they'll forever be loved by Alabama fans. That if they had the transfer portal and NIL, would not have finished their careers at the University of Alabama.
Pat, I know of a guy that's not even a starter that's gonna make $200,000 at the University of Alabama. And we're one of the poorest. We're one of the poorest states in the least finance collective amongst the big brands. So these guys are going to these other schools. Pat, if the kid, now I agree with you, man. There has been tremendous value, a 30-plus year value that continues to multiply by me graduating from the Crimson jersey. And I came here to play the jersey, and I love the Crimson jersey. But I get these guys doing what they do, Pat. And it's not you come to college, Pat, to get a degree, to take care of your family. If you come to Alabama, unfortunately now, guess what happens to your value in the market? If I'm a guy at Alabama, because of Nick Saban and what he built here, I am more valuable to others than I am to the University of Alabama if I'm a backup. And the market bears that out. That's why everybody comes to get the Alabama guys, because backups at Alabama go everywhere else and become starters. That is their market value. That is why you go to college. It's a capitalistic world.
That's what's so sad, Martin. That's what's so sad. But something's got to be done.
It's not the kids' fault, and it's not a value of these kids. These kids may be valuing their family over Alabama football. Is what I'm trying to say is these kids are getting offered money that will change their families forever, Pat. And we have to understand that.
There lies the problem. Hey, there was one down in Florida. I won't mention his name, but he won all kinds of accolades in Florida, and he's almost dead broke because of family, because of giving people money that didn't. And hey, when a $200,000 house in Florida would have been a mansion, and go to Chicago and buy a $10 million house, it's stupid. And they need a no man. They don't understand that those millions of dollars aren't the same amount those millions of dollars were 50 years ago. And it's just sad, so sad.
And
you know who I'm talking about.
Still worth more than anything we got, Pat.
Yeah, and but here's the thing.
But it's gone now. It's gone now, X. It's gone.
But here's the thing. Once again, adults making decisions and not putting up guardrails and protective measures around their kids. What you're looking at is exactly what happens to child movie stars. Robert mentioned this the other day. We don't begrudge child movie stars and say they shouldn't be paid to be in the movies they're in, but we see what happens when they have poor management and poor family. Poor input. That's what's happening with these kids, these young men, is they need the right people around them, and a lot of them don't have it. And I'm telling you this, y'all have to hear me. I don't like it. But I get it, and I put it all on the adults in this sport, not the kids. Not the kids. The kids have unbelievable pressure, and they're not getting the right tools. That's part of the reason I do financial wellness. Maybe I can find my way into college sports someday and teach these guys some financial wellness tips and ideas. I'm working on that on the backside.
Yeah. Well, Martin, one more thing before I go. You got so many shady agents out there now that are 12, 15%, 20% of what they're of this money that they're passing around. Instead of it being a 3% agent, a legitimate agent, it's horrible. All right,
stay on the line, and I'm going to tell you, X, on the other side, remind me, I want to tell them how these agents are getting these players, and decisions are being made before they ever even talk to the player. We heard Baker's dad the other day say Baker never wanted to leave. Javon Baker never wanted to leave Alabama. Let that sink in for a second. But who all dogged Baker for leaving Alabama? Maybe I did. Maybe you did. We'll put some more conversation to it on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, happy hump day to you. We're looking good across the area right now. Moving at posted speed for the most part. Now, we do have a little bit of a tap on the brakes on McFarland as you move on the westbound lanes on 269 and Lurleen Wallace. Lurleen Wallace also traveling on the cool here in between McFarland and 5th, or make that 20th Street. And with your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school. And we make legends. Take 3. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. On your home for Alabama basketball.
Presented in part by BMW of Tuscaloosa and by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi.
Before you say you're not going to procrastinate this year, just go ahead and admit it. You're going to procrastinate this year. And there's no shame in that. In fact, this year, Fincher and Osmond is having the Great Procrastinators Carat Pendant was $9.99, now just $6.99. 2-carat lab-grown diamond studs were $24.99, now $19.99. You didn't miss the other sales. You were just waiting for the right one. The Great Procrastinators Sale, Fincher and Osmond, McFarland between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Sweetie, come here. Don't worry. I see a lot of patients with the exact same thing.
Ever since the ice skating rink went in next door?
Or is it more than
Dr. Clark's business is heating up.
So many patients need my help. How will I find time to see all of them?
They need to hire a scheduler, stat.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dixie Battery Supply takes care of all of your battery needs. Find the commercial batteries you're after and never feel powerless again. Come check out our Northport and Tuscaloosa locations or call us at 205-758-9190. And once again, power up all your devices by using Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com. They offer reconditioned batteries starting at $39.99, and you'll find all the batteries you need. And don't forget to ask us about our golf carts. That's DixieBatterySupply.com.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now. 800-575-7015. That's 800-575-7015. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-575-7015 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Keep it locked
Into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show
with Martin Houston
and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. We have a recruiting day set up for you tomorrow. We're going to take this segment a little deep into the next segment. Then we'll do a quick break and hit a quick Christian moment of the week on the other side that I'll be doing today. X, here's what these agents are doing. They're making a $5,000, $10,000 investment to get a multi-million-dollar player. And what I mean by that is they're not coming to these kids. They're going to mom and dad and giving them they're giving them money, and now they're locked in with this agent who now starts bombarding this kid with offers that this kid wasn't even entertaining. So that's the big thing. And like I said, CJ, I'm not arguing with CJ. I think CJ's right. As a fan, he's frustrated. But it's two sides of that coin, X. the Auburn fans are frustrated and dogging the kids that left, but they're praising Arnold for coming.
Mm-hmm.
And Arnold's getting more money than all the kids that's left Auburn getting combined. That's my point.
And yeah, and when we're looking at this, you gotta also remember it's a number game for some of these guys. I saw it yesterday, and this was before Kelby Collins had committed. Somebody did a breakdown, and this is also before draft guys enter. And that's something that Alabama is taking into consideration when they're going out and looking for players to bring in. Alabama, with all the new recruits coming in, is sitting at 84 scholarships now with Kelby Collins, which means we have one free scholarship. They're not going to give these scholarships just to anybody right now. So with that, they have to wait to see, is Jalen leaving, is Jihad leaving, is Damani leaving, is LT leaving, all that. And once you see those guys declare, that's when you'll start to see. This is what Alabama has done. This is 3 years. This Kelby Collins is the earliest anybody has committed to Alabama in the portal since Jahmyr Gibbs. CJ Dupree was the first 2 years ago, and that was right before New Year's. LT was tomorrow makes it when he committed. So you got to remember, it's a numbers game. Guys like, I know it hurts to lose guys like Justice Haynes. It hurts to lose guys like Devontae Smith because they were starters, impact role players, whatever you want to call them. Kobe and Kendrick Law were not fits for this offense realistically. And that's why we're looking at getting a Concepcion. That's why we are entertaining a Craver, why we're entertaining the guy Horton from Miami. And I'll talk more in depth about this tomorrow. But it's a numbers game as much as it is guys just wanting to leave. Some of these guys were told to leave or suggested to leave from this coaching staff. Y'all got to realize that. There's only I would say Devontae, Justice, and Mbakwe and Danny Lewis were the 4 guys that probably weren't told to leave. That's why you see Bach and Danny back.
And not necessarily even one of those you mentioned he wasn't told to leave, but he wasn't told to leave, but there's plenty of juice around him. He's a good player, but is the running back room? And don't get me wrong, I didn't want to see Justice Haynes leave, but is the running back room okay? Is the running back room?
I think it is.
Would you like to have Young coming back with probably 2 years versus Justice coming back with 1?
Right.
And anyway, we'll talk about the Justice Haynes as the offseason goes along after I see where he commits. But the thing you just said, Xavier, wide receiver room, we lost less than 400 yards between all of those dudes. I was asked the question, which group do I think is the weakest unit on this team? And I started thinking, and I was thinking O-line, and then the person said wide receiver, and I said, I need to research that a little bit. And when I look at how many guys left, and you only lost less than 400 yards, maybe there's some truth to that. You see what I'm saying? I mean, Larry Miller said,
I just say look at the guys that they're going after. Look at the guys they're going after versus the skill sets that left. Maybe Caleb was probably somebody that they would want back. Probably, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but the Concepcion and Horton, the top 2 guys that we're pursuing at that position, have a completely different skill set than Henderson, Law, and Prentice.
Henderson out of position.
Right.
Here's what we need to talk about. Holloman Wiggins lived off of his predecessor. Look at the dudes. Look at the dudes he recruited and didn't hold on to. All of the top wide receivers that he recruited are playing for somebody else, starting at Oregon, starting at Louisville, starting at in Florida, starting at Texas. He didn't recruit anybody that stayed that was a baller.
And the one that we've talked about, Javon Baker, who didn't want to leave, balled at Central Florida and is now a key player for the Patriots.
That's what I'm saying. And so you look at this and go, okay, wide receivers. And Odom was a project. Henderson was a project. Neither one of those guys were wide receivers. Odom was a potential weapon, but hadn't manifested yet. And then you add in the fact that you're going to get, what's his name? Number 7, wide receiver that got hurt.
Cole Adams.
Cole Adams is going to be back. You're going to be adding some guys. Hill is going to be in there, who would have probably been a starter. He probably would have been the number 1 guy potentially had he not got hurt. So
Rico Scott looks like a dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is everybody needs to understand there's a reason some guys who are quote unquote starters leave. Sometimes it's fit, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's those dudes behind me are dogs, and if I didn't get more playing time this time, it's just more coming up behind me. But so any closing thoughts, X, before we get out of here? We just gonna have to pick up this conversation on tomorrow.
Right.
You had asked a question about which guy was the biggest loss or biggest get back, whichever way we want to take that, and we can talk about that on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a lot of portal information going on right now, and it'll be that way for the next month and a half. So we'll continue to dig deep into this.
All right. Hey, come back on the other side. I'm going to put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with a quick word regarding the Christian moment of the week. Scotty's out in North Dakota, so I have it this morning. We'll be back on the other side to put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, happy hump day to you. We're looking good across the area right now. Moving at posted speed for the most part. Now we do have a little bit of a tap on the brakes on McFarland as you move on the westbound lanes on 269 and Lurleen Wallace. Lurleen Wallace also traveling on the cool here in between McFarland and 5th, or make that 20th Street. And with your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
The Crimson Tide.
It's picked off! Intercepted!
The Wolverines.
Breaks the tackle! Scores!
Bring in the new year as Alabama and Michigan battle in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Live from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Tuesday, December 31st. Bowl coverage starts at 8 a.m. on your home for Alabama football.
Brought to you by Pearl River and BMW of Tuscaloosa.
Visit the pharmacy at Midtown. That's the pharmacy at midtown.com. TJ and his team are looking for the opportunity to provide you with great services, including compounding, home delivery, and a whole lot more. If you're looking for a great pharmacy that'll take care of all of your needs, including wellness classes, including health, and more, that's the pharmacy at Midtown. Call them at 205-579-9933. If you're looking for a great pharmacy, you need to try the pharmacy at Midtown. That's the pharmacy at Midtown, pharmacy at midtown.com.
The bells are ringing, and it's that time again for the holidays, where you can enjoy fun times with family and friends, creating new memories with a jolly experience. Bring the family and delight in the Fun for Family Night at the Tinsel Trail, hosted by Tuscaloosa's One Place. This free event on Friday, December 20th from 4 to 6 at Government Plaza in downtown Tuscaloosa. There will be refreshments, fun activities, and more. For For details about Family Night, log on to ttowntinsel.com/events.
The Venue, your new favorite Tuscaloosa hangout, food, music, and more. Come and taste what's new at The Venue, whether it's Liza's Sweet Shop, whether it's the all-day breakfast and burgers from Ramajama's, or the quality food that you can get at Finish Pub. Great atmosphere, great time, great people, great environment. That's The Venue. You can find them online at thevenuetuscaloosa.com, located off of Watermelon Road, just past Sokol Park. That's The Venue, Tuscaloosa's new favorite hangout. Make it yours.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460, 553-9460, or visit them online at HoustonHydrosteam.com. And once again, Houston Hydrosteam is quality work you can stand on.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's now time for the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. Literally got a 2-minute warning up on us. Scripture for today is Matthew 11:28. And 30, it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." You know, guys, we all live in a world that demands so much of us: deadlines, responsibilities, expectations, and challenges. And that sometimes feels overwhelming. If you find yourself weary, burdened, longing for relief, just know that Jesus extends a simple yet profound invitation: come to me. When you look at this passage, it reveals the heart of Christ, his gentleness, his humbleness, and his readiness to give us the rest we so desperately need. He doesn't ask for anything in return and us have it all figured out. He doesn't require us to carry our own burdens alone. Instead, he invites us to exchange our heavy load for his easy yoke. The yoke was that piece of equipment that connected the plow to the oxen. And Jesus is saying to you today, connect with him and he'll help you carry the burdens of the holiday season. This Christmas season is much like the NIL. On one side of the coin is stressful and it's painful and it's loneliness. On the other side of the coin, it's filled with joy and peace and kindness. As we move through this holiday season, don't get caught up on the negative side of the coin. That goes for the Christmas season as well as the NIL. Don't get caught up on just all the negativity and dogging these kids, but look at what's drawing them out and the positives that they're doing to change their family. Lord Jesus, we come to you with all of our weariness and our burdens, and we lay them at your feet, and we ask that you take up our burdens, and we'll take your yoke in exchange. We trust you, and we pray that we'll find rest for our souls. Thank you, God, for carrying our burdens for us. We pray this in Jesus' precious name. Thank you so much for being a part of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. We'll be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program. And remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide